Hello, hi. Um, what's up? Hopefully everything is going well for you. So I'm gonna deliver some information from Indicat www.indicat.net. So it's a kind of methodology. Wait a second. It indicates a sample size calculator, baseline, endline, and other surveys requiring precise quantitative data need to use a representative sample of respondents. To calculate the required sample size, take advantage of indicate sample size calculator. So that's actually confidence level. It's about 95% margin of error type margin of error. Actually, I'm looking for the methodology of the calculator, but what I got here is sample size formula. So that's the first is confidence level, tells you how sure you can be of your results, since it is very rare that relief and development surveys would use anything other than a 95% confidence level. Indicates sample size calculator enters this value automatically, and the second is a margin of error, also called confidence interval, is the amount of error that your survey's findings can tolerate. For example, if your sample uses a 5% margin of error and your survey shows that 63% of women are exclusively breastfeeding, you can be sure that if you had surveyed all breastfeeding women in the given population, the result would be between 58%, 63 until 5, and 68%, 63 plus 5. The lower the margin of error you choose, the larger your sample size will be. How interesting. While the most common margin of error is 5%, surveys focusing on data which are likely to record only small changes, such as prevalence of undernutrition, often only use 2 until 3%. So the third one is population size. It's the total number of people you are choosing your random sample from. This can, for example, be the total number of your beneficiaries or the number of women living in a given district. For more information on sampling, red indicates rapid guide to survey sampling. So that's a copyright 2024 people in need or PIN or right to reserve personal data protection policy designed by Zone www.izone.coz. But what I'm looking for is this is what I'm looking for actually. So this is according to, wait a second, let me see, Central Michigan University. So that's HTTP divided by double slices people.c.cimic.edu. So in here I'm gonna find out what is actually calculator is it. Suppose your understanding of the workings of the light in your bedroom is limited to how to turn the light off and on by flicking the light switch. Is that sufficient? Answer: only temporarily. As soon as the system fails to work as expected, that amount of expertise is quite inadequate. It could even be dangerous. The same principle applies to use of calculators, computers, and mathematics. If you think of these only as a means of arriving at answers without enough understanding of why or how the process works, it may work for a little while but eventually will become inadequate or dangerous. In Math 132, you will often be invited to use your calculator to carry out otherwise tedious calculation and for answer checking, but you will always be urged to gain the fullest understanding of the underlying computational principles being used. During the semester, you will be required to complete several of calculator activities, most of which will require entering and running simple calculator programs. You will be expected to understand the logic and purpose of these programs and will need to understand them well enough to reinstall them during a test or quiz should they become damaged or erased. Calculator models. Supported calculator models are TI-82, TI-83, TI-84, TI-85, and TI-86. Demonstrations in class will normally be presented on a TI-84 Plus, and that or a TI-83 Plus would be the best per case for most students needing to buy one for the class. A TI-85 has a few inadequacies which make its use more difficult. You are advised not to buy one of these, but if you already have one, it will be adequate for the course. A TI-81 or TI-73 will fail to work adequately to carry out some assignments. Calculators with a computer algebra system or CAS or QWERTY keyboard may be used for homework but are prohibited during tests and quizzes. The TI-89, TI-92, and TI-Inspire models are examples of these calculators. If you have one of these, you will need to be able to bring one of the 4 supported models to quizzes and exams. Sharing calculators during a test is prohibited. Also, use of other information devices such as PEAs and cell phones during exams or quizzes is prohibited. Other brands of calculator, example Casio, Sharp, etc., which are not excluded by the previous paragraph, are allowed, but I'm unable to provide any knowledgeable support for them. You would need to be completely self-sufficient, and it is doubtful that all the courses, calculator activities will work properly for these brands. Since these workarounds will be rather unsatisfactory, you may want to consider trying to borrow a TI model for this class. M132 Home. Alright, so that's a little bit explanation about the methodology of calculator. Let's see what's next we can get from what was the purpose of the calculator. The calculator is a machine which allows people to do math operation more easily. For example, most calculators will add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Some also do square roots, and more complex calculators can help with calculus and draw function graphs. Calculators are found everywhere. So this is according to Wikipedia, simple.m.wikipedia.org. This is the best expert in the world that we can find out on the internet. It's very easy for us to find out. Calculator, electronic device used for calculations. A calculator is a machine which allows people to do math operations more easily. For example, most calculators will add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Some also do square roots, and more complex calculators can help with calculus and draw function graphs. Calculators are found everywhere. A smartphone or other computer can also act as a calculator. An abacus is a simple calculator. So this is the pictures. Even bars, we say that sampoa, right? So in English, is an abacus is a simple calculator. And also the mechanical calculator, early 20th century. So it's quite old. Some calculators like the abacus will work without electricity. Others like the electronic calculator use batteries. Some calculators are simple and can only add, subtract, multiply, and divide, and sometimes take square roots. Scientific calculators can do many other things such as use exponents or powers or indices and trigonometry functions. A printing calculator can print its results. So now we move on to the next topic about pocket calculator. So an electronic pocket calculator with a liquid crystal display. So that's the resources, I think. A pocket calculator is a small calculator that helps people do arithmetic. It is so small that it can be put in a pocket. Its most common use is for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Many pocket calculators are powered by solar cells. They are commonly seen in schools and businesses and can be used quickly and efficiently for simple mathematical problems. Other names are miniature calculator or mini calculator. Let's see the scientific calculator. This is quite serious, so I'm gonna be serious, but exactly at the beginning of this video already be serious. It's seldom. I'm joking. A scientific calculator can do more things. It can often use exponents or powers or indices, or whatever it is, pi, trigonometric ratios, and the order of operations. Scientific calculators can also use bigger numbers. They tend to cost more than pocket calculators. Many are also programmable. The user can make a program directly with the calculator or transfer one from a computer. GST calculator. A GST calculator is a tool used to compute the goods and services tax, or GST, on goods or services in a given transaction. It helps individuals and businesses accurately determine the amount of GST applicable, aiding in financial planning, budgeting, and compliance with tax regulations. So that's a little bit information about calculator from Wikipedia and also the related pages as abacus. But I'm interested in learning about abacus. Let's see what is abacus is. Abacus calculating tool. An abacus is an old tool used for arithmetic. It is still used in some parts of the world, and it is well suited for use in shops and street markets. Sometimes blind people use an abacus because they can fill the numbers easily. The most common abacuses work by moving braids on rods. So this is the picture. Also, can you see? That's a kind of abacus actually. Abacuses can do addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. They can be used to find the square root of whole numbers. Expert abacus users can sometimes do math faster than basic calculators. There is a common Chinese abacus. This abacus is split into two kinds of basic rows. The top is for the fifths and the bottom is for the ones. There are 1 or 2 bits in the top rows and 4 or 5 bits in the bottom ones. For example, 8 is 1 bit on top and 3 below. Because 5 plus 3 equals 8, every column represents a different digit. Etymology. The use of the word abacus dates from before 1387 AD, when the word was got from Latin to describe a sandboard abacus. The Latin word came from ancient Greek, abax, which means something without base or improperly any place of rectangular board or plank. Both abacuses and abaci are used as plurals. The user of an abacus is called an abacis, soft or hard C. From Japan, there is a Japanese version of the abacus called the soroban. It works in essentially the same way. Other websites. So that's enough for the abacus, and I'm going to explain a little bit about graphing calculator. Actually, I'm not explaining, but I'm just reading. Alright, still from Wikipedia, a graphing calculator, handheld calculator capable of plotting graphs. A graphing calculator is a calculator that is specially made to draw graphs. Also, graphing calculators can do many advanced tasks such as solving equations with one or more variables. Graphing calculators are usually bigger and more expensive than a basic calculator but can do more. Of course. Another feature of most graphing calculator is programmability. This lets anyone program the calculator to do whatever he or she wants. So this is the picture of whatever it is, I forget the name. The TI-83 is one of the most popular graphing calculators today. I have one actually. Alright, references. Because I'm still talking about calculator. There is a word in the article that uh, interests me. So it is smartphone. A smartphone is a mobile phone that can also be used as a computer. I will tell you a little bit about smartphone. Probably you don't know what is smartphone it is, right? We just know that smartphone, we're using it, but we don't know actually what is the etymology or the pure definition of smartphone is it. A smartphone is a mobile phone that can also be used as a computer. They work as a computer but are mobile devices small enough to fit in a user's hand. They use a system on a chip or minimal instruction set computer so they can be small. Samsung foldable smartphones Galaxy Z Fold and Flip. Smartphone used to read Wikipedia. HTC Desire Z with a large touchable display and a QWERTY keyboard. Uses include sending and receiving emails, text, photographs, and multimedia messages, registering contacts, calculator, currency conversions, alarm, etc. functions, browsing the internet using a mobile browser, playing games, video chat, mobile payment for goods or services, barcode scanning, photography and video recording, uses torch to make a light in dark areas, taking and searching notes, showing map of user location by GPS global positioning system GPS. Another way to think of them is that they are PDAs that can make voice calls like any other mobile phone. Other phones also use computer technology but lack many of the parts of a computer that were too big to fit into a phone. Modern phone makers have been able to use smaller parts. Most smartphones are also GPS receivers and digital cameras. Because smartphones are small computers, they run an operating system that is often common between devices to ensure compatibility. The majority of smartphones run on Apple iOS or Google Android, but others use Windows Phone or BlackBerry OS. Most can do multitasking, running more than one program, which helps the user do things quicker and easier. Users can get more programs called mobile apps from the manufacturer's app store, such as the Apple App Store and Google Play, which can help them complete special tasks. Data communication has become faster. Smartphones can send and receive data much faster than older phones. The industry uses different standards to label the data transmission rates. 2G was introduced in 1991. 2G means second generation. 2G phones transmit data at about the same speed as 56 kilobytes per second dial-up modem would get. 3G was introduced in the early 2000s. Depending on where they are, 3G phones vary in speed between about 200 kilobytes per second to 14 megabytes per second. This is comparable to DSL or low-end cable modem speed. Most smartphones use a 3G technology to make them fast enough to practically use internet and other data features. Faster 4G networks operate in many places with speeds estimated as fast as 100 megabytes per second to 1 gigabyte per second. This is as fast as some computer networks that use Ethernet. Many smartphones introduced after 2010 use 4G technology including LTE. As later, even faster version 5G was introduced in a few places in 2019. Smartphones are powered by batteries. The amount of energy they can store is reduced over time and they become weaker. This causes the phone to become slower and later to turn itself off without the user asking for it. Some smartphones are designed so the user is able to take off the rear cover, replace the weakened battery. Most newer smartphones are not made like this. Used as a camera. Smartphones also works as a camera, but they are usually not as capable as dedicated cameras. Some phones have sophisticated camera software, allowing such features as independent setting of bitrate, frame rate, and resolution. Such controls have only been adapted starting in the mid-2010s. As of early 2021, mobile phone chipsets may be capable of 2160p 4K video capture at 120 frames per second. Alright, so that's a smartphone. Now we move on to next topic is about mobile phone. A mobile phone, also known as a handphone, cell phone, or cellular telephone, is a small portable radio telephone. This is the picture. This is very old, very old. The cell phone can be used to communicate over long distances without wires. It works by communicating with a nearby base station, also called a mobile tower, which connects it to the main phone network. When moving, if the mobile phone gets too far away from the cell it is connected to, that cell sends a message to another cell to tell the new cell to take over the call. This is called a handoff. And the call continues with the new cell the phone is connected to hand off. The handoff is done so well and carefully that the user will usually never even know that the call was transferred to another cell. As smartphones became more popular, they began to cost lesser money and more people could afford them. Monthly plans became available for rates as low as $30 or $40 a month. Cell phones have become. In the 21st century, a new type of mobile phone called smartphones have become popular. Since the 2010s, more people use smartphones than the old kind of mobile phone, which are called feature phones. Alright, I'm gonna delivering a history of mobile phones itself. Mobile phones in the 1950s through 1970s were large and heavy, and most were built into cars. In the late 20th century, technology improved so people could carry their phones with ease. Although Dr. Martin Cooper from Motorola made the first call using a mobile phone in 1973 using a handset weighing 2 kilograms. Oh my goodness, it's heavy, 2 kilograms. It didn't use the type of cellular mobile phone network that we use today. The first cellular mobile phone networks were created in 1979 in Japan. Now, almost all urban areas and many country areas are covered by mobile phone networks. Next, the technology inside a mobile phone. As you see that you can see the inside of mobile phone. Yeah, it's very clear enough. What is it inside a mobile phone? The technology. A cell phone combines technologies mainly telephone, radio, and computer. Most also have a digital camera inside. Cell phones work as two-way radios. They send electromagnetic microwaves from base station to base station. The waves are sent through antennas. This is called wireless communication. Early cell telephones used analog networks. They became rare late in the 20th century. Modern phones use digital networks. The first digital networks are also known as second generation or 2G technologies. The most used digital network is GSM, Global System for Mobile Communication. It is used mainly in Europe and Asia, while CDMI, Code Diffusion Multiple Access Networks, are mainly used in North America. The difference is in communication protocol. Other countries like Japan have different 2G protocols. A few 2G networks are still used. The first digital networks are also known as second generation or 2G technologies. The most used digital network is GSM, global system or mobile communication. It is used mainly in Europe and Asia, while CDMI, code diffusion multiple access networks, are mainly used in North America. The difference is in communication protocol. Other countries like Japan have different 2G protocols. A few 2G networks are still used. 3G are more common and many places have 4G. The radio wave is that the mobile phone networks are used or split into different frequencies. The frequency is measured in Hz. Low frequencies can send the signal farther. Higher frequencies provide better connection and the voice communication are generally clearer. Four main frequencies are used around the world: 850, 900, 1800 and 1900 MHz. Europe uses 900 and 1800 MHz and North America uses 850 and 1900 MHz. Today, there are mobile phones that work on 2, 3 or 4 frequencies. The most advanced phones work on all frequencies. They are called world phones and can be used everywhere. Shapes. There are different kinds of phones. A flip phone flips open and is best for calling. A bar phone is shaped like a candy bar, and the case and the screen are on one face. A slate phone is a phone that has almost no buttons and uses a touch screen. Most smartphones are slates. A slider phone slides on rails. It can slide out number keys or a mini keyboard, but some do both. A swivel spins on an axle. How mobile phones work? So this is a big question for the researcher. When a mobile phone is switched on, its radio receiver finds a nearby mobile phone network base station and its transmitter sends a request for service. Computers in the base station check if the phone is allowed to use the network. The base station covers an area called a cell. A phone can move between different cells but will only communicate with one cell at a time. That's something new for me. This is why mobile communications are sometimes. So once connected to a station, the mobile phone can make calls because the network knows that the phone is connected to that particular cell. It can also route calls to the mobile phone. Sometimes the radio connection to the cell is lost, for example when you go underground. This means the phone cannot make or receive calls until the connection is made again. Networks and payment. The network is the company that provides the phone service. In most areas, there will be more than one mobile network. Customers choose network based on how well the different networks work in their area or by price. There are two main ways to pay for mobile phone calls. First, contract. If you pay by contract, you will pay the network money every month so that you can make calls. Usually, you can talk for a lot of time for the monthly fee, but if you do not use the phone a lot, you still pay the same money. Second, pay as you use. If you pay as you use, you will pay for a fixed amount of call time credit which you then use up when phoning people. Once the credit is used up, you must buy some more to use the phone. This can be cheaper if you do not use the phone a lot. Mobile phones use different technical standards. GSM phones need a separate microchip and blah 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 blah. That's the explanation about mobile phone. But I think that's enough for me. Thank you for the listening and see you on the next presentation. Kind of presentation, I think. Yeah, because there is no questions. Actually, if there are several questions, presentation. What is a presentation? Or what terminology I can use? What kind of terminology I can use? I guess a presentation is also a kind of presentation. What I do is a kind of presentation, short presentation, because there are some part in a presentation, right? Present the presentation and also will get in the questions if the audience have some questions. But usually I don't have any I don't get any question from the audience, so that's kind of presentation. Let's say presentation.